Barbara Stanwyck, born Ruby Catherine Stevens on July 16, 1907, in Brooklyn, New York, entered the world under circumstances that would demand strength long before fame ever found her. Her childhood was marked by profound loss when her mother died in a tragic accident while Barbara was still a toddler. Soon after, her father disappeared from her life, leaving her effectively orphaned. Passed between foster homes and relatives, she learned early how to rely on herself. Her older sister became her closest emotional anchor, offering guidance when stability was otherwise absent. These early hardships forged a resilient spirit and an emotional reserve that would later become part of her mystique. Rather than breaking her, adversity sharpened her resolve. The discipline, independence, and guarded vulnerability that audiences later admired on screen were not learned in Hollywood, but born out of necessity in a difficult childhood that left a permanent imprint on her character. From chorus lines to Broadway lights, Stanwyck's journey into entertainment began not with glamour, but with grit. As a teenager, she worked as a chorus girl in nightclubs and vaudeville shows, environments that demanded stamina, precision, and toughness. These early stage experiences taught her professionalism and the value of hard work long before cameras followed her every move. Her determination paid off in 1926 when she earned a role in the Broadway play The Noose, a performance that caught the attention of critics and industry insiders alike. The role proved she possessed not only beauty, but depth and emotional intelligence. Broadway became her proving ground, allowing her to refine her craft and command attention without artifice. Unlike many aspiring performers, Stanwyck did not rely on charm alone. She built her reputation through discipline and consistency, setting the foundation for a career that would thrive across decades and survive countless changes within the entertainment industry. Hollywood embraces a new kind of star. Hollywood soon came calling, and Stanwyck transitioned to film with her debut in Broadway Nights in 1927. Unlike many silent-era performers who struggled with the arrival of sound, she adapted effortlessly, her voice and presence adding new dimensions to her performances. Throughout the 1930s and 1940s, she emerged as one of the most respected and bankable actresses in the industry. What set her apart was her ability to portray women who were intelligent, strong-willed, and emotionally complex. She moved seamlessly between genres, excelling in melodrama, comedy, westerns, and noir. Audiences trusted her authenticity, and critics praised her restraint. Stanwyck did not perform for admiration. She inhabited her roles with quiet authority. In an era dominated by carefully manufactured personas, she stood out by feeling real, grounded, and emotionally honest, qualities that secured her place among Hollywood's elite. Defining performances that endured several roles cemented Stanwyck's legacy as one of cinema's most versatile actresses. In Stella Dallas, 1937, she delivered a heartbreaking portrayal of maternal sacrifice, earning her first Akira Academy Award nomination. The Lady Eve, 1941, revealed her impeccable comedic timing and charm, while Double Indemnity, 1944, redefined the femme fatale archetype with chilling intelligence and control. Despite receiving 4 Oscar nominations, she never won a competitive Academy Award, a fact often cited as one of Hollywood's great oversights. Still, her impact transcended trophies. In 1982, she received an honorary Oscar, recognizing her extraordinary contribution to film. The award acknowledged what audiences had long known. Stanwyck's power lay not in accolades, but in the lasting emotional resonance of her performances, many of which continue to influence actors and filmmakers generations later. Reinvention through television and longevity. At a time when many film stars resisted television, Stanwyck embraced it, once again proving her adaptability. Her role as Victoria Barkley in The Big Valley introduced her to a new generation and earned her critical acclaim, including Emmy Awards. She brought dignity and authority to television, helping elevate the medium's reputation. Later projects such as The Thornbirds further showcased her ability to command attention well into her 70s. Stanwyck defied Hollywood's rigid expectations about age, continuing to work with confidence and relevance when many actresses had already been sidelined. Her career longevity was not accidental. It was the result of discipline, professionalism, and an unwavering commitment to craft. She remained selective, choosing roles that reflected maturity and depth, proving that true star power does not fade, but evolves. A troubled first marriage, Stanwyck's personal life, like her childhood, carried its share of difficulty. Her first marriage, to actor Frank Fay in 1928, initially appeared promising, but quickly deteriorated. Fay's volatile temperament and struggles reportedly created a tense and unhappy home. As Stanwyck's career flourished, the imbalance between their professional paths added strain. Hoping to build stability, the couple adopted a son, Dion, yet the underlying issues remained unresolved. By 1935, the marriage ended in divorce, with Stanwyck assuming full custody. Balancing single motherhood with an intense career demanded emotional restraint, and their relationship later became strained. The experience reinforced her guarded nature and deepened her self-reliance. Rather than allowing bitterness to consume her, Stanwyck channeled her energy into her work, quietly carrying the emotional weight of personal disappointment without public complaint. Love and Loss with Robert Taylor, Stanwyck's second marriage to actor Robert Taylor, represented a different chapter. Introduced through studio publicity, their relationship evolved into genuine affection. Married in 1939, they became one of Hollywood's most admired couples. Despite outward appearances, the marriage faced challenges rooted in differing personalities and demanding schedules. Stanwyck was practical and reserved, while Taylor preferred avoidance over confrontation. Over time, emotional distance grew, in a gesture reflecting her characteristic grace. She agreed to initiate divorce proceedings to protect his public image. Their marriage ended amicably in 1951, and she never remarried. Many close to her believed Taylor remained the great love of her life. Even after their separation, mutual respect endured. His death years later affected her deeply, a quiet grief she carried privately, consistent with the emotional discretion that defined her life. A memoir revelation handled with care. In a rarely discussed portion of her unpublished memoir, Stanwyck reportedly reflected on a powerful connection she once felt with fellow actor Burt Lancaster. True to her nature, she did not sensationalize the experience. Instead, she wrote with measured honesty about presence, intensity, and emotional gravity. Her description of Lancaster as massive was not crude, but metaphorical, referring to his commanding energy and depth rather than physicality alone. She admired his confidence, intellect, and the emotional complexity he carried beneath a formidable exterior. Their interactions, she suggested, were brief yet impactful, marked by mutual respect and unspoken understanding. Stanwyck emphasized that some connections are defined not by duration, but by impression. The passage reveals vulnerability rather than scandal, offering insight into her emotional world without betraying her lifelong commitment to dignity and privacy. Quiet generosity and private struggles. Away from the spotlight, Stanwyck lived a life defined by discretion and generosity. She supported charitable causes quietly, particularly those aiding struggling actors and children in need. Recognition never interested her. However, her later years were not without hardship. In 1981, she survived a frightening home invasion that left emotional scars she rarely discussed. Soon after, health challenges emerged, exacerbated by decades of smoking that began shockingly early in her life. Despite these struggles, she remained composed, continuing to work when possible and retreating gracefully when her strength declined. Stanwyck faced adversity with the same resolve that had carried her since childhood. She neither dramatized her pain nor sought sympathy, embodying a stoic resilience that mirrored the character she portrayed on screen. A farewell true to her spirit. Barbara Stanwyck passed away on January 20th, 1990, at the age of 82. In keeping with her lifelong preference for privacy, she requested no funeral and no public memorial. Her remains were cremated and her ashes scattered over Lone Pine, California, a landscape tied closely to her love of Western films and open spaces. It was a symbolic farewell, reflecting freedom, strength, and independence. Stanwyck left behind a legacy built not on spectacle, but substance. She was a woman who endured loss, embraced discipline, and transformed personal hardship into timeless art. Her story remains one of resilience, integrity, and quiet power. Long after the final credits rolled, Barbara Stanwyck endures as a symbol of authenticity in an industry often defined by illusion.